everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I thought I'd do my completed pages since we last spoke in mid-August. So this is the end of August and a little bit of this beginning of September. So jumping right in, I thought I'd share some of the PDFs that I'm working on. So this is from Hannah Carlson's Etsy shop. So she has PDFs available, and because I love her portraits so much, I have them, and I use them for experimenting too with different mediums. Always good before jumping into a color book. So for this one, kind of this butterfly butterfly portrait. For this one, I used pan pastels for her skin, as always. I always use pan pastels. And then the background is actually a new medium. It's the Paul Rubin oil pastels, but not the small ones. It's actually these jumbo ones that I just got from Amazon the other day. I wanted to try them out, see if they were different than the other Paul Rubens. And also I thought these would be good for coloring for backgrounds because they're so big and I won't run out of them so quickly. So I did try those for this background, and they worked pretty much exactly the same as my small Paul Rubens, just bigger, which was great, so I won't run out of them. So I did try that for this one, and just left it kind of speckled, so it has a little bit of a Neocolor 2 type of look to it. So that's what I did for that. And then this is a whip that I'm working on. The same thing, same technique. So again, it's a PDF from Hannah Carlson from her shop. And then this is just kind of a blue, a purple, and a black mixed up together, kind of a Halloween picture that she's got on there. I've already done the pan pastel. And then these, when I work on these, I actually spray these with workable fixative after I do the face and the oil pastel background, so that then I can go back in and easily, and I don't worry about like smudging as I'm working on the rest of the portrait. So that is also, and again, that was using the background, trying out these jumbo oil pastels, which I like. So those are the two PDFs that I worked on today. Not today, so far this month. Next up is Forest Kingdom. So again, Hannah Carlson. I did a lot of work in Hannah Carlson this month, so you're going to see a lot of pages there. But I did this double page spread in the Forest Kingdom. This one again is with oil pastels. So this is with the Paul Rubens, just the small ones. I think this was the page that I was like, oh, I'm going to run out of these really quickly. So that's why I got the jumbos. So again, that's just 2 shades of blue for that. These are my Luminance pencils, pan pastels for the face, some gold metallic pen for the jewelry. Yeah, a few little stickles here and there for glitter, and some gold, that Kiritaki ink gold splatter that I always use. That's what's in the background. It does have a shine because it is sprayed with fixative. So between the oil pastels and the pan pastels, it really does need fixative. But I love the colors of the leaves. It's very fall. So yeah, I was very happy with this page, how it came out. I will say, so I used water-based marker for this, the same water-based marker that I always use, the Faber-Castells. And for some reason, I don't know if it's this color that I used or the paper in this book, but it bled through. So I have never had that happen before with those Faber-Castell aqua markers. So that was interesting. Again, I don't know if it's this book. I've never had that happen before, but just a caution, if you are using water-based markers, maybe test in Forest Kingdom. So I thought that was interesting. I did get the Halloween book, so I ordered this from iMusic, so I did get a copy of this. We don't have this in the store, unfortunately, but we will get it as soon as we can, as soon as it's available in the US. I did 2 pages in here just to start, just to play around. So the first one I did was the bat. This has an oil pastel background, if you can see, again, using those Paul Rubens. And then I did do kind of a smoke effect. The bat is Luminance pencils. And this actually, I think, is Gelato for the moon. And the smoke effect is, again, a white oil pastel. I don't know if it turned out probably the way that I wanted. I probably should have done more of a gray with a white smoke. If I were to do it again, I would probably do that so that it looks more purposeful, that it's smoke. But this was fun. It was the first page that I did in this book. And then I also did this page. Again, oil pastels in the background, luminance pencils for everything else. I did outline some of this with Art pens, just in a complementary color, some white, a little bit of white, but mainly kind of a darker Art pen to outline and to, sometimes I think low lights work better almost than highlights if you're going for kind of a spooky vibe. Yeah, so that is that page. So love this book. We'll be working on it through Halloween, through spooky season. Jewelry box. Always work in jewelry box. So a couple pages in here. This was just kind of one of those kind of palette cleanser pages. So for this one, again, I was playing with the cloud effect here. I thought I would demo this effect at the end of the video. I have gotten quite a few questions about how to do this. So I thought if that's helpful and you want to stay till the end of the video, I'll do a demo of how I do this cloud effect. But I did this in just some kind of neon chartreuse colors for the background to make it a little bit Halloween-y. These are some fluorescent colors. I use my Karen neon pens for any type of fluorescence. So that's the pen that you see that is neon on this page. And then just some stickles to give some shine. But that's that page. This is probably my favorite page of the month. And this is one of those kind of holy grail pages that I've been saving, and I was ready to get into it this month. So this is my pheasant lady page. So for this one, again, I did the cloud effect here just with gelatos and a stencil and some distress ink. These are all luminance pencils for the pheasant, for her dress. A little bit of shine here and there, some stickles to make the little bottle glow, and what else? Some metallic pen for the jewelry. This is, the black is the Korean Milky black pen. I believe that's what it's called, Milky. But that is a great kind of almost dupe for the black glaze pen from the one that is hard to get. We do actually have some black glaze pens in the store. If you are looking for those, we still have some in stock. But if you are looking for an alternative to that, I thought the Korean black Milky pen is a good alternative. But that is my pheasant lady. Really like her. This is just such a beautiful picture. I was excited to color that. I certainly did not draw that. Wouldn't know the first way to go about that, but I did color it. Love it. I also did this double page spread. This is a different look, different medium used for this one. So this is kind of the garden lady. She's got garden green vines coming out of her hands. This one I tried to do, this is all pan pastels. I tried to do kind of a green tinge to her skin. I don't know if that shows up on camera, but she has, this is again just using a little bit of a green color pan pastel mixed in with the portrait color to give her kind of a green tint. And then these are all luminance pencils. I made this into a double page spread. I don't know if it was meant to be, but made it into double page spread and connected it all with a matte green paint. One of my So Matte little pop pens from paints from Golden. And then did some gold sparkle again with the Kuretake ink and some metallic pen for the hummingbirds and some enamel drops for some of her. These are all raised. Yeah, thought she came out nice. A lot of work in this book over the last few weeks. This was again just a palette cleanser. I would say that this one was more again trying out medium. This was the Paul Rubin pen pastels. No, I'm sorry, Paul Rubin oil pastels. I did end up doing, so the snake is kind of a black gray mixture of gelatos, and then I outlined all of it with a silver metallic pen. Didn't work out quite what I had in mind. I think if I did it again, I would make the black more black. So make that darker so that the white really stood out. It wasn't quite what I had in mind. And then I did some splashes with the Kiritaki, the silver ink this time for this page. So I like it. I think I would have done it a little bit differently if I had it to do over. I am going to extend, that's why I didn't care too much. I didn't put washi tape on the side of the page. I'm going to extend this green over into this page. She's one of my favorites, and so I'm gonna hold off on doing her for a little bit. So yeah, I was able to finish that page in Jewelry Box. So a lot of work in that book this last few weeks. Hidden Earth, the coloring book. So I always kind of come back to this since I got it. So Rita Berman. What did I do this month? I did this page, kind of an autumn spread. So for this, I used a matte olive green So Matte paint, little paint pot again, and then colored all of the pictures, actually with water-based marker. These are the Faber-Castell watercolor markers. So if you've used those, the Albert Dürer watercolor markers. So I used that for these. And then went back and outlined everything with the Tuileries white pen. In hindsight, I would not have done that. So it was really pretty without the outlining. And I think I outlined this leaf, and I was like, oh, that looks nice. I'm just going to keep going. And I ended up doing the whole thing, and I regretted it after I did it. I think it's fine. I think it's pretty. But I liked it a lot better before the outlining. So sometimes I love to highlight, sometimes I like to outline, and sometimes I don't. And this was a good lesson to remember that sometimes you don't need the highlighting. So that was a fun page to work on, though. Here's another page again. This was another kind of outlining fail. I was playing with the neon color paints, and so I really like the neon color paints. I completely forgot to take off my washi tape. Oh, it's because I bled. The black bled onto this page, so I had that to kind of protect it, to stop that bleeding. But this page, I was using the neon paints, and this had to have the outlining because the paint edges were just a mess. So I ended up having to outline it, but I am not the biggest fan of how this page turned out. So, but I wanted to show it to you to kind of show, like, not every page works out, not every page is perfect, but that's why, do it, try things. I did like trying the neon paints, which was fun. So now I know how to use those a little bit better and what to do differently next time. I did end up doing the desert page. I really like how this page turned out because this entire page is Neocolor 2s. So even the cactus, the cacti, even all of that is done with Neocolor 2s and a water brush. And then back here, this is all Neocolor 2s. I did a kind of sunset effect. And then I used my my cloud technique with some ink, using Uncharted Mariner for the ink, Distress Oxide for the ink to make the clouds. And then just some metallic pen here and there, some gold metallic pen to add some accents along the page. But I really like how this page turned out. I love the colors. It's nice and bright. And it was really fun kind of with the challenge of only using Neocolor 2s, even to color some of these things. I thought that was a really fun thing to do. So yeah, happy with this page, the desert page. Again, lots more work coming in this page. I am going to tackle this one in September. So this will be my next page in this book. Excited to do kind of the acorn houses. Of course, they'll all be in fall colors. I'm trying to figure out how to do the background, whether or not I'm going to do paint or I might do gelato just in the background. So we'll see about that, but I'm going to put my bookmarker there. That'll be a good thing to start in the next week or so. The Magical City coloring book. This is probably one of my most challenging books that I have, and I've been intimidated, and I've started and stopped quite a few pages in here, trying out different medium. If you're not familiar with this book, it has kind of a Zen doodly type of look to it. It's very unique. I don't have anything else like this artist that does these drawings, and I love it. This is me trying it with acrylic pens, trying to do this with Posca, so that was trying that medium out. I also tried a page, I think somewhere in here with water. Yeah, here's water-based, like watercolor markers. I tried that here. Not too much. And then I finally just buckled down and I did this page, and I did this with my luminance pencils. So colored all of the, and I love this page, Sherlock Holmes. I colored all of this with luminance pencils, and then the background is Gelatos with a stencil. So it's kind of one of those gothic stencils. And then around the edges is just some distress ink, I think in like Vintage Photo or Espresso or something, just to make it look a bit antique-y. But this was, using the pencils was definitely my favorite way to work in this book. But it was still very challenging. And, you know, when I look at pages like this, it's a little overwhelming. So, but fun, really fun, and such beautiful artwork. So I'm excited to work more in this now that I know I like my luminance pencils in this. So more to come there. Maria Trolle, her universe book. So this is one of my project books. I'm trying to just complete this book at this point because I have quite a bit done. Oh, this is the page that I'm going to work on in September. That's why I have it marked. I think I might do both of these at the same time and just make them complementary colors. So of course I want to do the pumpkin house as we're in fall. And then I'm going to make this image from Moon Valley. I'm going to do all fall colors for that and probably do a gelato stencil background in the back. So that is what's upcoming. But I did this page a couple weeks ago. Posted this on my Instagram, I think, too. So this one, again, is the gelato background, what we're going to demo in a little bit with the cloud stencil and the distress ink. And then these are all watercolor markers that I used for this. Again, the Albert Dürer from Faber-Castell. I used those markers for this. So it went really fast. It looks very complicated. And if I had done this in pencils, it probably would have taken me a long time. But to use the pens, I think, was the right way to go. I was able to get it done, and it still looks really pretty. So happy with how that turned out. There's a few metallic accents here and there just to highlight a few things, but not too much. It's really just the watercolor markers. And I didn't do any highlights except for on the roof of the little houses, and I outlined in yellow the flowers. So, but not too much else. And I was glad that I did that and kind of didn't ruin the page like I did before with the Rita Berman page. So Alan Robert, Beauty of Horror. So this is my first Alan Robert book that I've ever worked in, except for the tarot book. So I have the tarot card book. I love that book. But this is kind of the first like Guliana book that I've worked in, and I love this one. It's not too gory for me. While I love creepy, we love horror, we love Halloween at Root and Company. Sometimes his drawings, it's just maybe a little more than I like to color, but this one is adorable. This is a storybook, and so I feel like I can almost color this whole thing. I think it's really, really fun. So I started at the beginning. So I think I posted this on Instagram. This was my first page that I did. I've decided I'm going to do this book. I mean, if I did this in pencil, it would take me ages to finish this book. So I'm going to do it in watercolor markers. So I used my Albert Dürers. I used my Kuretake Futabioris for this, my favorite. Those are always my favorite. And just kind of jumped right in. And so picked a few fall colors and started. This was probably one of the funnest pages that I've done so far. This was really fun. Again, not using pencils, it went pretty fast. I just highlighted with a few things. And oh, the stones, whenever I have stonework, either cobblestones or stones on houses, especially gray stones, I always use my Pitt pens. So Pitt pens for shading, going from dark into light. The little nib of a Pitt pen, that's my favorite thing to use for stonework, are Pitt pens. Bricks too, but bricks I find so easy to just, in between where the little edges are, I put a darker color, and then I just run over the whole thing with a lighter color and call it a day. So yeah, this is gelato background for the sky and for in here, and then again the cloud stencil technique, and then I used a copper color metallic pen for the outline of the scroll work here. So yeah, really happy with this page. Thought it turned out nice. And then I kept going. So the next page I did was this one. This one I did gelato and ink background for this. And then I used my Korean fluorescent pens to outline. Again, those same water markers. There are quite a few little sparkly bits on this side. I don't know if you can see, like his legs are all stickles. I think that's the unicorn stickle right there. We've got some sand here. But yeah, again, another really fun page to do. This is a Ciao stencil, spider stencil in the back that I used just to complement this side to bring over here. And then silver metallic pen to outline the scroll work. So fun page. I love the little fluorescent red spider up in the top. This page was super fun. So this page, I decided to work this as like it was a real oil painting. So these are oil pastels in the background. So my Paul Rubens in the back to make that oil pastel look. And then I used water-based markers to make this kind of modeled look on her skin. So this is all like purposeful, so that it looks very antique and kind of damaged, water damaged. So I wanted it to look that way. And then the blood, again, watercolor markers for the rest and metallic green for the scroll work. This, I did do Neocolor 2s for the background because I find with Neocolor 2s, I can do this kind of antique vintage type look pretty easily. Again, the green are watercolor markers, but this was really fun. And then the thing that I did that was really fun was I used actual gold flakes. So I used the Prima Marketing. We have these in the store, the gold mica flakes for this to do some gold accents along this frame. So again, super, super easy to do. Don't be intimidated by using those gold mica flakes. I just put down glue. I mean, using a glue stick, quite frankly, or even just whatever glue you have, just put down a little bit of glue, softly lay down the flakes onto that area, and then take like I have a firm brush, clean brush, once it's kind of dried a little bit, and then just rub it off. Do it over a garbage can because it will get everywhere. But you just rub it off, and then whatever stays, that's the look that you'll get wherever the glue was. So I just kind of did it in different places because I wanted that look of just old and kind of rubbed off. So yeah, kind of a little bit of gilding on this mirror, so that was fun. This page was a little overwhelming, and it's actually not done, but I thought I would share it with you. This was my most challenging page because with watercolor markers, I really do need to go back in with some pencil or outlining to make sure that I have some delineation between the colors. It kind of just looks a mess. I want it to look kind of grungy and modeled because of the theme. So I don't mind that, but I think that it does need some outlining. Like I outlined this chair, a few things, and I want to do, like I outlined this, I want to do a few more things there to kind of make things pop and stand out. But I did try to kind of mirror the look of this because this obviously, this is the zoom in of this area. So I tried to mirror that. But there's a lot going on in this page. This page took me a long time just to even get this far in it. I also had some bleed through of her fingernail, which is random, but her fingernail bled through, and so you can kind of see that. So I want to do another wash of color on the elevator door, but again, really fun. And then after that, next up is the elevator shaft. So we've got some creepy crawly things going on, lots of gears. And so it'll be fun to figure out how to do that. And then here's the elevator coming down. So this page is next. So I am going in order from front to back for this book. So yeah, it's really fun. So I hope other folks have this book, or if you've never done Alan Robert, or if you've been afraid to do any of the Guliana books or Beauty of Horror, I feel like this is a good one to get and start in. And don't worry about the pages that have like a lot of text, because that just gives you an opportunity to do a really fun background with your gelatos or ink or whatever you'd like to do. So really, really fun book. Magical Dawn. I worked in Magical Dawn this month, so another big month for this book. So for this book, I did her. So this is kind of my blue lady. She's got a lot of shine. I actually put glossy spray on her because I did want her to be super shiny. So I'm sorry about the glare. But she's got acrylic paint for the background. For this page, I use my polychromos, and I am reminded that polychromos do not blend in the same way as luminance pencils do. So the blend is not perfect of her hair. I'll tell you that right now. But the colors of polychromos, it's kind of unmatched. So, and I needed a few specific shades that my luminance just didn't have, and wanted it to look a certain way. So brought those out. They are gorgeous pencils. They are my second favorite pencil, but they take longer to blend. So, and I just honestly didn't have the patience. So I did the best I could. But it's a little tough up there. I did outline some things with my Thule Arts. This again is pan pastels for her skin. What else? There's the metallic gold pen and some enamel drops around here. But yeah, so I like how she turned out. I do want to pull this acrylic color over onto this page, so that will be the background of this page when I start to do the bugs. Love to work on Hannah's bugs. So those are some of my favorite pages. So I'm excited to get started on that. And then I think I shared this actually I think I shared this one last month. So apologies. I think you've already seen this one, but I really love this one with the metallic. So, and he is one of my planned pages for September. So I'm going to bring the yellow over into this side, into this page, and have him kind of mirror the same metallic look of the star. But this page I thought turned out beautifully. It's actually one of my favorite pages of the year. And so I want to bring all of this into this side. So that's the plan for the coming month. And then this is a whip that I worked on. I don't know if it's abandoned or not, but I messed up this flower and I tried to fix it here, but you can see it's kind of splotchy. I have to figure out what to do with that. And then the color combinations just didn't turn out quite as I wanted. This is using watercolor markers versus my luminance. So I think I can fix it. I need to finish up the black background. I think it's fixable. I just have so many other plans and things I want to do. I just kind of dropped it for now. I'm also going to work on this page for September. So this one I do have plans. I want to do another vintage page for this. I think I've showed you in Jewelry Box that original vintage page that I did. I want to do that again. So I'm going to do the wallpaper background back here. I'm going to do all browns and neutral tones for this, browns and neutrals for around here, and then yeah, give her a very soft appearance, and then probably brown hair for her hair. So yeah, I have plans for that one. And I guess that's it. I guess that's it for Magical Dawn. A few other pages that I have planned, because I think that's it that I colored so far this month, but I'll share a few other things that I've planned for the month. So I am going to return back to the Cult and Folklore coloring book. So for this one, I'm going to work on her. So I haven't gotten to her yet. And again, all of the pictures are in the back for inspiration. And I do follow the pictures just for ease. I think it's fun instead of coming with my own color combinations. So she's down here. So I'm going to translate that to this. But I just love this book. I've loved every page that I've colored in this book. It's been so fun. So, and there's so much more to do. So hoping to jump into that very soon. Love these two pages. So that's on the plan for September. Summer nights, I actually, believe it or not, I didn't do any summer nights recently, which is weird because I usually always do. Summer nights, I am going to, oops, I don't know why I have the bookmark there. Oh, this is a whip that I need to finish. So I'm going to finish this one. and I'm going to tackle this. So I think I'm going to do the same technique that I did for my owls. So with the metallic pen and the gelato for the sky, I'm going to do that same look here, but just in some different colors. And I think I might use oil pastels actually for this. The nice thing about gelatos though is that you can put them on, and if they get into crevices or like the different parts of the color of the page, it's okay. I either use marker or my luminance will actually go over the gelato without really a problem. So I will probably just do gelatos for this page, but this one will be a good challenge. It'll probably take me about 3 sittings to finish this page based on what I want to do. So that one's coming up. And then I am going to return back to Lulu's House of Wonder. I don't know if you all have been coloring in this cute book. Again, I've only done the 1 page, and it took me a lot longer than I thought and planned for. I thought it was just going to be kind of a moment. I don't know where even my page is. But for this coming month, I am going to do this little spooky tree house. Isn't that cute with the little monsters? She's got her witch's costume on. So I'm gonna work on this one. I also really like the next page, another spooky page, so I might work on that. But because these take me so long, I do them with luminance. Because they take me so long, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna do that one, and we'll see. This is the one that I did before. But yeah, so that is the plan. But if you'd like to stay for a few minutes, I will go over kind of how I use my gelatos and stencil. I'm happy to do that if it's helpful, or if it's not, thanks again for joining, and we'll be back next month with more coloring. But let's get into this, and I'll do this for a few minutes. This won't be long because it doesn't take long. That's why I love it and use it. So this is another PDF from Hannah. Again, it's a good practice sheet that you can print and use. Has a good, nice kind of size background. What you need for this is some kind of a plastic palette, so something that you can put your gelatos on. So for this one, for the gelato, I'm going to use the Gold Champagne gelato. It's one of the metallics. But you can do any color that you want, and you can mix them. So if you wanted it to be a little bit orangey, you could mix the orange in with it, or blue or red or whatever. But for the purposes of this, I'm going to use the gold metallic. And again, this is just how I do it. If you have another way, I would love to hear about it in the comments, but this is, it's just the easiest way I've found. So I just rub some gelato onto the pan, or onto the palette. And then I have my Distress spray bottle. I spray the Distress, and then I use one of these blenders. And for these, I do spray just a little bit to dampen that's literally how much I do. Just to dampen that up a little bit. You are getting a ton of glare from that light. I'm sorry. Let me move that. Okay, sorry about that. I adjusted it a little bit. I tried to dim down the light a little bit and put a white piece of paper under this palette so that you could actually see the gelato color a little bit better. So again, we have our gelato. I've actually sprayed this with some water. I'm going to spray the blender with a little bit of water as well. So let's work in this corner. So let's first put the gelato, and don't worry about the little crumbs that the gelato makes. It's totally fine. So we're going to rub, and don't worry about splotchiness. That's the dream of this technique, because this stencil actually takes care of some of the splotchiness that I find that I get with gelatos, or honestly any media when I'm doing backgrounds. Also, don't worry about going over the leaves. If you use luminance pencils or markers or anything like that, can easily go over a gelato. So it's not a big deal. I don't use masking fluid for most of the things that I do. Sometimes I will, maybe when I'm using inks, but for gelatos, I just kind of go over. Okay, so here is the gelato down in the corner. Again, not worried about splotchiness. We've got a little bit of sheen metallic sheen because we use that gold champagne color. So next up, we're going to take our Oxide. Now, most of the gelato is off of the blender, so I don't worry about dipping it into the ink. Let's just do a final rub, though, to get as much of the gelato off of the blender as we can. We've got our stencil at the ready, so I'm just going to rub in the Distress Oxide. So we've got a little bit of the ink onto our blender. I'm going to tap off just a little bit. Sometimes I get kind of too much in some corners. We're going to put our stencil up towards where we want to start. Doesn't matter where you start. And we're just going to rub the ink along that stencil. You can pick any edge you want. And there's our first cloud. Sorry, this is really shaking. There's the first cloud. Okay, so let's grab a little bit more ink. Okay, so we've got our ink. This one I'm going to do a little bit darker because we're using kind of light colors for this effect, which is fine because I want it to look kind of a vintagey feel. But for that, I'm going to have a little bit of a darker cloud here. So you can see how that made that cloud. And then I'm going to do the next layer. Now you might want to turn your stencil so that you have different cloud effects so it doesn't all kind of look the same. So I just turned it around a little bit. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no right or wrong here. It's just going through and kind of picking what part of the cloud you want to put where. So that was a lighter. So again, because our ink is, there's not too much ink left. So let's refill our ink. And if you do want to go over your cloud, it's totally fine. And you can also do different angles. So you can pull your cloud like this and get that effect as well. So let's put another one here. And then up in this corner, let's do kind of a darker. Let's put some more ink on and let's really get this corner. So you can see that made a good little cloud up there. So yeah, so that's it. Here, in between here, I feel like that probably needs a little bit of a cloud. So let's do one right here. Yep. And then you just keep building however you want your layers. And then you can go all the way across your page. But that is it. Let's bring the light a little bit more over so you can see that. And that is the effect that I'm getting. So I would probably, if I was still working on this, I would probably go back into this area and I'd do another cloud right here because there's a little bit too much dark right there for me. But I'd just keep working away. I'd add more gelato. I'd use the same blender, just go into the gelato, do a little bit more, do the cloud technique. But that's it. So that's how I create that effect. I do like the tone on tone. So the gold color with the tea dye, I think that is such a pretty combination, especially for this kind of a page. So I would just go around the entire portrait or the entire butterfly in this case. I would probably do acrylic marker for the inside of the circle for that, and then call it a day. But once you start working on this effect will literally take about 5 minutes. Just putting the gelato, going through and doing the clouds, and then call it a day. So that's it. That's how I make that cloud effect. So I hope that was helpful. Again, thank you so much for watching today and for subscribing to our channel if you haven't already. We really appreciate it. And we'll be back next month for our September completed pages and the beginning of spooky season. So talk then. Have a great day. Bye-bye.